My name is Scott Hessel. I'm the director of the Terry J. Lundgren Center for Retailing, and I want to welcome you to our 22nd Global Retailing Conference. And this is in part also the opportunity for those friends of ours from the East to be able to escape your lovely weather. So we hopefully put a nice show together, but also a great few days of weather for you too before you have to go back to 38 degrees or whatever you might have. But we do have a great show. We're really looking forward to sharing some wonderful speakers. This is, again, our 22nd year of doing this. And, each year we try to bring a great set of speakers that bring a new perspective. This year, it's around customer engagement, which I know as retailers you realize very well is a key part of retailing today and a great challenge. And so I think the speakers you'll be able to hear today and tomorrow will be able to share some very interesting insights and perspectives about how they engage their customers. And so I hope you'll enjoy that. I also wanted to share that one kind of slight change in what we're doing this afternoon. So this evening we have a typical Thursday night dinner, which I hope you'll all avail yourself of. We are also going to be, because I've had several over the this is my third year of overseeing the conference. Previous 2 years, I've had many people come up and say, we want to meet your students, which you can see some on either end of our conference hall here. And so this evening during that dinner, you're going to have members from our student advisory board who you'll see scurrying around the lobby and here handing out mics for your questions at the end of each speaker, as well as our members of our Retail Innovation Lab. So you're going to get a chance this evening, to be able to meet and greet and talk to those students as well, because they are genuinely the major asset that the center has and our program has. So please take advantage of that opportunity and visit with them this evening. So it's again, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the next day and a half. So I'm honored to introduce Dr. Robert C. Robbins. Dr. Robbins, who is an internationally recognized cardiac surgeon, is the president of the University of Arizona and our newest president. He assumed his role last summer after having served the previous 5 years as the president and CEO of the Texas Medical Center in Houston, Texas. In that role, he significantly enhanced TMC's commitment to collaboration, introducing 5 cross-functional institutional research initiatives centered on innovation, genomics, regenerative medicine, health policy, and clinical research. In taking on the role as UA president, Dr. Robbins noted that the University of Arizona is standing as a top-tier research university, and to strengthen arts and humanities, science and technology, interdisciplinary study, and student engagement will serve as a springboard for its next phase. He has also shared that special attention will be paid to student enrollment, retention, graduation rates, and elevating the research activity and productivity and building on successes in tech transfer. We definitely look forward to seeing this vision come to life in the years ahead. So with great pleasure to introduce Dr. Robert Robbins.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that kind introduction, and thank you for allowing me to be here to this 22nd conference. Terry, congratulations on that, and thank you for putting your name on our center and being here and making this conference so wonderful. How about sitting out there for breakfast? That doesn't get much better than that view there, especially when it's cold and snowing back east. Could I just have any of the University of Arizona students who are here to stand up, please? I want to see who you are. Wow, look at that. All in the back. All right. They've all got their business cards, so now you know where they are. Please go by and say hello, because they're the reason I'm here. They're the reason that we exist as a university, is about our students. And I just got back from a conference of all 60 of the leading university presidents in the AAU, and don't jump to any conclusions and think that it was the AAU you're thinking. It wasn't the basketball corrupt organization we have. It was the leading university presidents. And we talked a lot about what students want. And what they want are jobs. They want to grow, they want to learn, they want to expand their horizons, but they want a really good job. And so the Lundgren Center is absolutely phenomenal in preparing our students for the jobs that are out there. And by having this conference, it's a highlight every year. So I look forward to it in the coming years and having a lot of fun here. I've been talking about a new direction for the university. We're in a strategic planning process, and sort of to get the conversation started, I framed the university around the fourth industrial revolution. And we had a nice discussion with Shane Burgess, our vice president for CALS this morning, with Tina and Terry about this center is really one of the exemplars of the fourth industrial revolution. And that's simply, we're moving now from the digital age into a consolidation of digital science, biological science, and physical sciences, and all of the things that employers are looking for in terms of leadership, communication, critical thinking, creative thinking, and the ability to work in teams. And I think the Lundgren Center exemplifies all of that. Terry was the fourth industrial revolution before the fourth industrial revolution was even considered. He majored here in psychology, and as we were discussing earlier, and Sarah will probably talk about, this is all going to be about data. This is all going to be about why people do what they do. And so we think that you know, I hope this is an awkward period of time for high school seniors all across the country and indeed around the world. The question, the awkward question that you never want to ask a graduating senior is, where are you going to go to school next year? Because they're all angst-ridden about that. And I hope next year they're going to be saying, well, of course, we're going to the University of Arizona. Why the University of Arizona? Because they're going to train us to be disruptive problem solvers. They're going to give us the tools we need to be competitive in the fourth industrial revolution, rapidly changing job market. So I can't think of a better way for our students and for all of you who come here to see what we're going to do in the next few years with the University of Arizona around preparing our students to be disruptive problem solvers and ready for the fourth industrial revolution. All the things that you're talking about, the changes that are occurring in the retailing business, it's a prime example of what the fourth industrial revolution is. It's bringing together many different disciplines, and so I couldn't be prouder to have Terry, you and Tina here. 22 years. I hope we get another 22 years out of you, and hopefully now that you have a little bit more time, that you'll be able to spend more time with us at the university as we think about how we can transform the program that bears your name. So I'm meant to introduce Terry. He's going to come up and give his usual dazzling speech and have a lot of insights, and he needs no introduction, but we are very proud to have you as an alum of the university. You're one of our most charismatic and great leaders that we claim from the university. Obviously grew up in Southern California. I'm told you bust tables at the Mountain Oyster Club, and with Bob Eccles, who went on to Mattel, and a couple of your buddies. There was something special in the water at that time, and you've gone on to be very successful as CEO of, obviously, and chair of the board of Macy's, and before that, CEO of Neiman Marcus. So we couldn't be prouder to have you here. Thank you for continuing to make this conference great and bring opportunities to our students. So Terry, please join me, and we look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Robbins, for your comments and for kicking us off today. He's already come to my office in New York and visited with me, and You can tell, I think, hopefully by the way he's thinking, he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and I think trying to bring a real spirit of change and entrepreneurship to the leadership of this university. And so we welcome that, and we welcome your support to our retail center. I've already hit the ground running here in Tucson and spent yesterday on campus most of the day, and as I typically do when I come here, and it just reminds me every time I do, and you got a chance to look at anyway some of the students who are here in the back of the room, and as Dr. Robbins said, that's why we're here. That's why I'm here, and this conference is really important for all of us to kind of learn and teach ourselves about what's next and happening in our retail industry and in the related fields. But I'm also here to encourage young people to get excited about our industry. And so that's, a sort of side objective for you. It's a major objective for me. So it's something that I really I look forward to doing, inspiring young people to get them excited about becoming the next leaders of our industry. And so I spent some time on campus yesterday. First of all, having lunch with the 28 students who are going to be working for Macy's, Inc. In the fall season, and I'm very excited about that. This is a very big recruiting hub, and why not? It's the largest retail-focused program in the United States, and so we have 500 students in the program now, and we're very excited about that. And the combination of the great work that's done at our retail center and the Eller Business Center, it allows us to say we're here for one reason, and that is these are the most qualified students and who are already focused on a career in our industry, and that's a big head start against other candidates. So that was very exciting, and then I spent some time with a larger group, a couple hundred in the auditorium, just talking and doing Q&A with students in the afternoon, which is always fun. And then last night, having our sponsors dinner and thanking them, we also had a chance to listen to a couple of students tell their story, and Rosie Bolden and Courtney Nash both got up and spoke very articulately about why this center has been so good for them. And so hearing stories like that from the students just inspires me to do more, give more, and to try to make this conference even more successful each year as we go. So let's get going. First and foremost, talk about what we're doing here. And I've said this to our smaller group that this conference sort of evolves its topics as we start to attract and recruit speakers to join us. And last year it was all about innovation and technology, and that was so timely and important. And as we started recruiting speakers, and you'll see it as with the lineup in your brochures of who we have, there's all of those things. It's innovation, it's technology, but it's also a big slant toward direct communication with the consumer. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So there's a lot of marketing emphasis. There's a lot of very specific about I know you as an individual, as opposed to a mass group of millennials or whatever category, boomers, whatever category you happen to be in. And I think that's ultimately what's going to make each of us more successful, is when we can communicate on a specific note. Let's go to the next slide and just and talk about our own situation at Macy's Inc. and just kind of the things that we had worked on. When we in 2005 we acquired May Company, the real reason behind that was because we didn't feel like there was a national fashion retailer. We thought that was a window of opportunity for a brand like Macy's to sell the designer brands but do it on a national scale. We weren't advertising nationally because we really had stores on the East and West Coast, and so acquiring the May Company allowed us to fill in the real estate opportunity in the middle of the country. But the key was, just another big brand. That wasn't gonna do it. It really, how do we get back to communicating on a local level. And we didn't have the sophistication of the technology back in 2005. Keep in mind, the iPhone came out in 2007. So we were a little, we had that dream, but we didn't have that technology then. But we did have a vision for communicating to local markets. And we called it My Macy's, meaning that if you lived in Tucson, Arizona, we wanted to make sure you felt like this was your Macy's here at Tucson Mall, and that was very different than the experience that you would have in Minneapolis, which would be their Macy's, and there would be different clothes, and there would be different accessories, and there would be different home furnishings that are catering to the local consumer. And I think that combination is still very relevant today. Power of the national experience, power of the national branding, messaging, but on a very local level. Today, with technology, we can get down to a much more micro level. E-commerce, we placed a bet very early on, had Macy's.com in the 90s be opening up mostly as a website, and then quickly in the late 90s into a commerce site. And so that gave us a bit of an advance on many to get that business going. And today, of course, it's a very big, significant part of our company, and I think the fourth largest internet company in America. Mobile first, boy, we learned this from traveling around the world, in that particularly in China, where I spent a lot of time, just watching how quickly they adopted to the mobile device for not just getting information, which, by the way, they didn't have information. So for them, we had, in America, we had access to information through all of our lives, one way or another, television or print or whatever. But in China, they didn't have that. And so for them to get this information on their mobile device, they were quick and fast adopters to using it for everything, including purchasing. And so that really caused us to think, this is going to happen. It's just a little slower in the United States, but it's going to happen. And so having a mobile-first mentality when we were thinking about purchasing on the device helped us get a head start to hopefully get in front of that a little bit. And certainly the speed at which this is doubling, tripling on a regular basis, is, even though it's still a small percent for us in America, is growing very fast. And then social media has just changed everything, about the information that's available to you, and the way you communicate, and the way you share data. But I want to talk about the pace of change a little bit here, and just it's interesting to me how I'll get to it, about how fast we're moving now and how slow we moved up until like the 90s, and I'll talk about that. But I've got a couple of objectives this morning. One is to sort of show you some data and share these data that will talk about some of the pace of change before and where we're going now, and then just to challenge you all. I mean, for me, I always sit here and I just take notes, and I would always, now I used to bring those back to the Macy's team. I said, okay, here's what I learned, at our conference, and now I'm thinking about I'm going to have these notes. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them, because I want to make sure I'm loyal to the Macy's organization, the Bloomingdale's organization, and if there are certain things that make sense, it's going to be great. But I can't help but want to learn. So for me, it's personal, that I just want to continue to make sure that I stay in tune with all of these changes that are going on in our industry, and I would challenge you to do the same thing, and that is, I'm going to try to give you 8 different things that I think I'm going to focus on. Hopefully you'll agree that these are the questions that we should try to learn from our terrific lineup of presenters today and tomorrow over the next 28 hours. So start with brick and mortar, and look at this. I mean, this is going back, obviously to when the first department store, came on board, and you can see how long it took for us to get to a shopping mall. From the first to the shopping mall, we've got some 76 years or something like that. Yes, and then another 34 years. After that, before the suburban idea came into place, and so you go down the scale here and the line, and you just basically see that the fashion retail subject took a long time to evolve. Let's go to media and talk about the same thing. And you see how these are aligned, you know. So first, of course, it was print media, and then the magazine obviously continues on print. But look how long it took to get to move to radio, 52 years. To get to an electronic medium, and then another 21 years after that before it became, you know, a television opportunity for retail. So they kind of moved at the same, you know, as we look back, glacial pace. And then, you know, technology changed everything, the internet changed everything, and you see the rate of change that's happening now is dramatic, it's fast. It's evolving. You see all of these various points of development, you know, of when Google came online, Alibaba we didn't learn about till later on, but it was booming and growing aggressively in Asia. You see Facebook, Twitter, all of these things that just continue to evolve and allow us to communicate in a faster, quicker way, and frankly, expectations of consumers grew dramatically during this brief period of time. But you know, still, e-commerce, as we all talk about this, and I talked about it at breakfast this morning, I talked about it last night, as aggressive as e-commerce has grown in the United States, it's still only 10% of all of the transactions that take place. And so I think, you know, people have a tendency to talk about, you know, I only shop online. This is where the way everything is happening. This is where it's all going. But that's just not true. I mean, it's just not true. So 90% of the transactions still take place in a brick and mortar environment. Now that's going to go to 89. It's going to go to 88. It's going to go. You know, it's going to change. But if we don't focus on how consumers are really shopping, if we get bogged down in believing that everybody shops online all the time, we're going to miss out on the consumer. We're going to totally miss that boat. And I'll have just, you know, more evidence. And by the way, this is so important and it's so critical. But I think you got to just put it in perspective about what exactly it means when it comes down to an actual transaction when somebody sells something to someone. And so here are the top 10 online retailers, and of course Amazon is number one. They've done an amazing job. There's just no denying that. But you'll see the other 9 of them have a combination of online and physical stores. Amazon is a true standout in a unique business and they're not a pure play anymore, of course. They bought Whole Foods, but even before that, they were clearly a true standout in the fact that they were able to drive this large sales volume only on an online platform. And then talk about total retail. And you see the list back in 2007, and Amazon wasn't on the top 10. They were 25 back in 2007, and you can see this list of stores here. And then the next slide, I'll talk about the comparison of what this looks like today versus 2007, and a couple of those retailers have fallen off, and I think Albertsons 10 joined the group, and obviously Amazon. And this is not including, you know, web services or cloud or anything like that for Amazon. This is just the retail, you know, portion, and they rank 7 among these retailers. But if you go deeper into the top 100 revenue ranked retailers in America, there's only one, and I would still call Amazon the pure play, and that's Amazon. There's only one pure play retailer that's on the top 100 in the United States. And so it's just more evidence that we all have to keep in mind that the way that customer shops, no matter what you read or what you hear or what you talk about and people say, is they are an omni-channel consumer. They do their research on their phone. They come into a physical environment. 9 times out of 10, they make a purchase in a physical environment. And the other time, they're actually buying the product online. And I think we've all, not all, but many of us have lost that understanding. And I think if we don't have it, when we're sitting here learning today, we won't capture what we need to be able to expand our own business. The consumer is a multi-channel shopper. So here's the 8 questions that are on my mind that I think I'm going to make sure I try to focus on and listen to. The first question here is, how are industry leaders using technology and marketing to deliver continuous improvement? And obviously we have a lot of information, but it's actually what do we do with that, and how do we focus it on our delivery requirements to connect us to our improvement of our business and growth in our specific category. Second question is, how are retailers responding to the changing demographics? Think about this. In pure numbers, the baby boomers is clearly has been replaced by millennials, but boy, there's some very dramatic changes in the way that these two consumer groups shop and consume product. And 1, and 2 is they're just obviously at different life stages. So the baby boomer doesn't any longer need work clothes necessarily. They're not going to the office. They're not going to as many events. They're not doing the same activities they were doing in the past, so they're not purchasing in the same way that they were in the past. So you have to replace that. So we replaced it in numbers, obviously, with the millennials. But are they really, thinking about the same priorities for what their interests are, or are they moving more to travel and experiences and things of this nature, and slightly away from brands? And so I think we have to all think about this and how we're going to deal with these changing dynamics. Number 3 is. This is an important one. How are retailers differentiating themselves more than price? I've said this forever. When price becomes the reason for a consumer to buy a brand, it's just a matter of time for that brand to deteriorate. And so when you lose that capability of people that people are desiring your brand because it's got a reasonable price-value relationship, but there's something special and unique about your brand. I think that's when the brands get off track and get lost. And so this is such a critical piece. And in our own experience at Macy's, growing, getting brands like Kenneth Cole Reaction and Tommy Hilfiger, the brands, and Sean John, and as well as Kipling, but in addition to the other additional 20% of private brands, that trying to create something unique, something special that you could only get at a Macy's was always a very important part of the strategy. I just think that's going to be more so. I think it's going to be more so. And I think that the big brands are going to be able to do that for large customers, meaning retailers, and differentiate their product to give them something unique to sell. That's not just based on price, but based on the product itself. And fourth, how are retailers, appealing to customers with personalization and micro marketing? I think again, as I said at the beginning of the talk, it's really all about that. You don't care what the person next to you is looking for. It's really about you and how well are the marketers doing at getting to you specifically. Next, fifth, I would say, is how are retailers responding to demand for convenience. I think you've got to remove the pain points because, frankly, the complaint for retail stores has been there's not enough people. The people that I have are not as knowledgeable as they should be. How do you overcome these things? Because online, you're doing all this yourself. You're doing that research yourself. And so you're not necessarily requiring that interaction. On the other hand, how do you turn that into a positive? Because it's actually a differentiator and can be an advantage for you. Sixth, I'm going to ask is how are retailers balancing their marketing message between price promotion and brand building? I think it's always important, but always a challenge. 7, what are the retailers doing to understand and build customer loyalty? I know that Rich Lennox is going to talk about that. There are others on this podium over the next 2 days that are going to talk about this loyalty connection. But again, to me, that can be a differentiator for your brand. And 8, how are retailers grappling with the challenge of balancing slow growth in demand with explosive supply? And think about this over the last 10 years. How many new online sites have been developed? And all of that is just another option for consumers to buy the products that you're trying to sell in another way. So that's just a gross expansion of supply, and not necessarily more demand. And so that's why you're seeing the change in physical stores shrinking. That has to happen. I mean, there has to be fewer physical stores in the United States. There was oversupply to begin with, but when the online business became 10% of all of the sales, it didn't necessarily grow the total. It just became instead of the business in the physical stores. And so, therefore, of course, we have to contract the physical stores. That process is not done yet, but I think a lot of retailers are taking action on that and actually closing physical stores that are profitable and not waiting for them to be unprofitable. This whole supply and demand subject is something I'm very, very focused on, and believe that when the physical stores are back in line with the proper demand, that's when you're going to start to see growth again from the brick and mortar side of the business. And I think you're just beginning to see that now for those retailers who have taken that action. So that's my list. I've said this to others, and I'll say it again, but as hard as it is to go through challenging times in the retail industry, that's what I look forward to, because I kind of say that in the middle of it, not at the beginning, but in the middle of it when I'm into it, because that's when I learn the most. I don't learn nearly as much. I didn't learn that much. I love 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, all these great years that our own company had, and we were growing in record numbers, $1 billion in growth per year on comp store sales, with even fewer stores than the beginning of that journey. And it was very exciting, but I wasn't learning that much, to be perfectly honest with you. What I learned was in 2008 and 2009, and we had to dramatically do things different. What I learned when my father cut me off when I was a student at the University of Arizona, because I was goofing around as a sophomore and not focusing on my grades, and he cut me off and said, "Hope you finish college, but you're on your own." I learned a lot then, and so when my back is to the wall, I find that's when I get going, and I can learn a lot. And I think we've had our back to the wall. Our industry's had our back to the wall for the last couple of years, because the economy has been okay. It's just been how consumers, all these shifts and changes that I've tried to describe, are affecting our business. There will be winners that will emerge, from this time. I'm positive of that, and you're sitting in this room. But to do that, we have to answer these 8 questions. So with that, I'm going to end my talk.